Hey everyone, I'm Marcus, Dev Relations at Edge and Node, working on building the graph. And today we have a special guest, Colby Mort of the Open Ticketing ecosystem. And Colby has been working with Open to bring ticketing to the decentralized world and then the world at large. Really, when you have such centralized companies out there that are really causing issues, it's nice to have a decentralized option such as Open, and they're already making a mark in real world use cases today. So I'm really looking forward to getting into his workshop and then also having a Q&A at the end. But before we get into that workshop, what I'd like to do is go through a few announcements. So let's go ahead and go. What I want to do is say this is, of course, Open, and of course, right now, it is June 6th, and on June 12th, 2024, Sunrise is officially here. So right now, we have 5 days to upgrade hosted service subgraphs to the Graph Network. So go through this upgrade process, and if you go through this upgrade process, there's GRT available for you in the Sunrise upgrade program. 4 million GRT is available for you as a builder to accomplish certain tasks and go ahead and show off how well you can upgrade and use the Graph Network. So go check that out. A few tech updates that builders should know about. I think it's pretty dang cool. Let's go ahead and show off these two new features of GraphNode 0.35.0. If any builder out there wants to understand if there we go. I made my screen bigger and it disappeared. It was get balance. There we are. Get balance. So if we have an address passed into our subgraph and we're not sure, what the value of the native token is in that address, we can use the new get balance function, method. And that get balance method will return whatever the native token is, wherever that smart contract address is located. So you could use an EOA, you could also use a smart contract, and you see the native token. So native token being like if you're on Ethereum and you want the ETH balance back, use this. If you're on let's say Polygon, and you want Matic back, you'll get that native token back. And another feature in subgraphs, you can check if an address is a contract or an EOA. This is a really nice one that allows for some good filtering in subgraphs. So check those out in subgraph mappings. And then one other thing that I want to go through, we have 4 cookbooks: Best Practice 1 with subgraphs, Best Practice 2, Best Practice 3, and Best Practice 4. We're trying to have a little bit more standardization of education for subgraphs because there's so much variation. And just by going through these 4 best practices, we can really have better subgraphs on the Graph Network, making sure they're really optimized for rapid indexing and querying. So that's with all that being said, what I want to do is introduce Colby Mort of the Open Ticketing ecosystem. I'm going to go ahead and pass this back to him. Colby, nice to have you here on the Graph Builders office hours. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what you're doing with the Open Ticketing ecosystem and what you're going to be doing here today.
Yeah, thanks very much, Marcus. It's a pleasure to be here, first and foremost. We've been big fans of the Graph and users of the Graph for many years now, actually. All the way back since we started our monthly ticketing already in 2021 on Polygon. But yeah, very excited to chat about Open and what we're doing with Onchain ticketing, and actually how we use the graph and our subgraph for some pretty critical pieces of our puzzle. So yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just let me know if there's anything, if I need to stop or if there's any questions. I'll just go ahead. But yes, so what is Open effectively? So we kind of are the home of Onchain ticketing. We've been around for quite a long time, since 2016. You may have originally known about us as Get Protocol. That was our original name. And we recently, in the last couple of months, rebranded to Open. And we've really built this full ticketing infrastructure that can be used completely around the world for all kinds of events, from stadium concerts, music events, to collectibles for the Grand Prix, the Formula One, to everything in between, comedy clubs, music events, and so forth. We've issued over 6 million on-chain tickets to date, across 20,000 plus global events. So it's we've sort of been around the worst. And every single ticket is on-chain. So it's an NFT as per system Polygon at the moment. and it offers a ton of benefits, to be honest. Originally, we kind of started with the goal of basically eradicating ticket scalping in the ticketing industry. There's a huge amount of problems that face ticketing, right, in terms of its opaqueness, in terms of the scalping that's prevalent, and the lack of real control that organizers, artists have over their ticketing. So we naturally found blockchain was a perfect fit to sort of restore control to the rightful parties, to be able to provide revenue and data, and the fan connection to some organizers. And we've had everything from 18,000 plus, concerts here in Amsterdam, that's well role based, to NFT Paris and a couple of other Web3 events, as well as collectibles for last year's Formula One. So yeah, we've really been around the block there. And what do we really do? So we've kind of built this Web 2.5 ticketing infrastructure. So what we really realized very early on is, you can't ask someone to buy a ticket and then have them write down their seed phrase. It's simply just not going to fly. It needs to be something that the whole family can use and enjoy, most importantly, being there at the event without the complexity of all the crypto technology we're really obviously so aware of. So we built this end-to-end infrastructure. So you have this mobile app, you have the ability to sell tickets in the primary and the secondary market. Importantly, that's all kept together, sort of bundled together. So if I'm buying a ticket on the primary market, I can actually sell it within this enclosed secondary market. And the benefits there is that the artists and organizers retain control of their revenue, but also they know who's going to an event. They know exactly who owns the ticket. And this is kind of Web 2.5. We blended it together. We had this idea of, okay, let's try and build in a tier environment and replace things with Web3 technology as it becomes more accessible and scalable. So that's kind of what we've done. And a lot of this is very behind the scenes. So if you're buying a ticket, you're going into a URL provided by organizers. You're buying the ticket just like normal. In fact, if anything's a little bit more streamlined and quite good looking, I would say. And the cool thing here is that every single ticket that's bought from these shops is actually minted on chain. Our developers, I'm not developing myself from the marketing side, but our developers have found a way to basically bundle 250 ERC 721 NFTs into a single transaction, which means we can scale up to millions of tickets every day issued on Polygon. So here you can kind of see how in this case, it's 26 NFTs because it's kind of time batched, but they're all for events kind of issued globally through. And why do you want to do this? I think is a good point to be discussed. Well, we see it as an extension of the ticket's life cycle. So whereas it's a wonderful primary market in a very black box environment, it gets very opaque. You don't really know how many tickets are being sold in the primary. You don't know how many are being kept up for the secondary. This is really a way of fully opening that box up and providing transparency and authenticity of those tickets. You know exactly who's selling them, where they're being sold for, how many are being sold, but also importantly, giving control of the primary and secondary seller back to the artists and organizers I've mentioned. The cool thing about this is you also unlock some really cool benefits that extend that life cycle. So a big critical piece of the ticketing industry is financing. As an organizer or artist, it's very difficult because you have to pay a lot of those deposits for your upfront many months in advance to selling tickets. And ticketeers, centralized ticketeers particularly, have found a way, and it's really hard to up this monopoly of providing funding to an organizer in return for a larger percentage of ticket sales being locked into a multi-year contract, and effectively using money and the financialization of ticketing to build up a moat. And what's obviously great about the blockchain is it is this global liquidity layer. It's this way of raising funds, of bringing TV out to different applications if people believe in it. It's no different with Onchain ticketing. I, as an organizer, can go, hey, I've got this really cool event coming up, 10,000 tickets. I need to be able to raise this amount of money. And what we can do is actually create those tickets before they're sold to the public, bundle them in a smart contract, and then offer them in a financing pool. And you can contribute stables. The organizer can actually then use those things to pay deposits, and when tickets are sold on chain, naturally that revenue flows back to the smart contracts to the people who finance the event. And then you of course so this is financing, look at the pools, but then for the actual ticket holder, it's not just this ticket that goes in the bin and it's a one-time use asset. It's actually something that lasts and stays with you forever. So as part of the behind the scenes technology we built, every single ticket buyer has their own wallet, an embeddable wallet we call it behind the scenes. So when you enter your mobile number, enter the email address, we're creating you everything you need to actually have an on-chain wallet. And that means that you get that NFT natively in that wallet. It's obviously a ticket, but it can also then evolve into becoming a collectible. So the organizer can really upload some beautiful imagery or video from the event, maybe drop in some unreleased music, and have this cherishable keepsake that, as an attendee, you'll last and latch onto forever. With that, then it's obviously an NFT, which means you can get access into content using it. It becomes an authentication tool into digital experiences. So that could be merchandise in the Shopify store.
As the attendee, you actually get this asset that you can use across platform. So getting access into content, into community channels. And what's really quite fascinating about this is it's not just one asset, as a attendee and a fan, really, it's a way of being able to build a connection with your favorite artists. So if I've been to 5 different events, they know, which ones I've been to, how many I've been to, and they can actually unlock content and bring you deeper into their fan base based on how many events you've attended. I always like to think, imagine if you went to the first ABBA concert or the first Ed Sheeran busk, it's this way that they could literally say, hey, you've been to my first, you've lasted as a fan all the way throughout my career, and bring you into that fan base in a way that's just simply not possible these days. Let's get on to perhaps the thing everyone in the graph community is really excited about, right? Which is this open and public on-chain data. And this is where the subgraph is absolutely crucial for us, because you can imagine all of these integrators, these ticketing integrators we have, which is about 10 or 15 of them, are all issuing tickets every single day, every hour, really. I mean, most days we get around 50,000 at the moment tickets issued at a sort of median. And all of that data is being collected and organized and accessible via our subgraph. And there's a lot of different data as well. So you can kind of think of it in 2 different departments. You've got ticketing data and you've got token and financial data. And both of that exists within this subgraph. We're currently going through the process of migrating this over quite hilariously this week. I think our developers are literally right now actually doing this whole migration to open, both for our economics and our ticketing activities. So right now we're searchable under Get Protocol, but in about a week or 2, it'll be under Open. So if you do go on there right now, you may see some of the token data is off or offline for this week. But yeah, that'll restore effectively when we do this full migration, because we only did the rebranding in April. But yeah, so with this, you've got 2 different types of data. You've got ticketing data, and what's great about this is there's like all kinds of things. You've got the event location, the date, the name, but you've also got the ticketing lifecycle data. So when it was issued, has it been scanned? Has it been resold? Has it been like checked in or invalidated? And all of that's queryable here in this subgraph. On the other side, you have the financial side. So we have a token called Open. It's the fuel for all tickets. And what's really nice about this is it's sort of an open accounting layer. So as a ticketeer, before they sell tickets to the public, they top up Open. That flows through the smart contracts, the financial smart contracts, and allows us to do accounting on-chain for these integrators. And all of this data is then accessible on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis, or a global overview. So I've kind of got here on the side, you can kind of see how much has the integrator topped up of their Open, how much have they spent on an event or maybe globally, how many tickets have they sold for a day, and so forth. So it's really exciting, actually, what you can use this for. And that sort of brings us on to the world of Open. And I think the best way we aggregate this data ourselves using our subgraph is on our Explorer. So if you go to explore.onopen.xyz, maybe I can pop in the chat in a bit, but you'll see all of this real-time data that's being pulled from our subgraph. And that's total tickets, total events, the sort of daily charts, all of the latest ticket sales kind of in real time pushing up. And yeah, that's only really made possible through the subgraph, which is obviously really important for us. But it's not just us that's using this data as well. We have really great community members who, also share in this passion for this open data, and they've built their own dashboards. So you see real-time tickets being sold. You've even got a map, an interactive map on this website where you see all of the different events that have happened around the globe. So it's, endlessly fun, endlessly usable in different ways. I know we've got a community member who's actually building a prediction game moment, and it's kind of a higher low. And, if today's tickets and fuel is higher or lower than tomorrow's, then you can, win some tokens or whatever it may be. So lots of ways you can package this in. And the nice thing here as well is that we can also build this into our ticketing applications. So, you can see as a ticket buyer, is this a legitimate ticket? Has it come from the right source? Luckily, we've built this kind of end-to-end infrastructure. So, if you're reselling this ticket, you're doing it in a kind of closed-off secondary marketplace. But you can also imagine that sort of, trust through verification and through data is also really important. And then sort of finally, what we've taken from this whole ecosystem, this white label we've built of our ticketing infrastructure, we've also kind of peeled it back to a ticket issuance API, which means that any builder can come in and actually build their own on-chain ticketing front end or event dashboard or aggregator and issue tickets using this API, and then obviously collecting that data from the subgraph to then have the best of both worlds. So we've really built something that we try and service for the whole ticketing industry, whether you're an organizer just starting out and want something that we handle everything for you, or you're an existing behemoth of a ticketing company that really wants to bring their data and their ticketing on chain, then they can use this API and twin their ticketing and have it on chain and really unlock a lot of benefits there, right, in terms of collectibles, in terms of access, and in the future financing. So, we're really excited, honestly. We're really passionate, of course, about really trying to restore control back to, organizers and artists. And, this is a way for us to do that. I wanted to touch upon, of course, as well, that we have a DAO. So builders who want to use, whether it's our subgraph data or actually build ticketing tooling using our APIs, can do that. And we have a grants program to support it. So, it's been short and sweet, but I hope that really kicks it off, and I'm happy to answer any questions or really dive into the weeds of this whole thing. So,
Great presentation. And for full transparency for the audience, Colby and I, we had a X, what do you call them? What an X? What do you call the sessions?
Yeah, well, I call them Twitter Spaces, so I don't know if they're just X Spaces now, but
Twitter Spaces. X Spaces, and that went really well. We talked for about an hour, and we really got to know that seem to be very much on the same page of having a decentralized foundation through and through, and that's really the only way to do it right. And I relate to you very much about this kind of 2.5-ish nature of Web3 as a whole, which I get. I think there needs to be some concessions made in certain circumstances. That's fair, but still aiming for kind of the high mark of decentralized stack all the way through. And so with that being said, I want to go into some kind of back and forth right now, if you won't mind. I see a question in chat from Lewis. A question, curious to know how you guys deal with the current massive issue that Web2 ticketing systems are currently going through legally and UX-wise of resellers. I always thought ticketing should live on-chain to capture and ID sales and resellers. Curious if you have thoughts about this or ways to tackle that, being Web3. Great question, Lewis.
Yeah, so exactly. This is really the crux of the whole ticketing industry's issue, right? So we've kind of balanced it, again, with the Web 2.5 approach. So in Guts, which is our ticketeer, what we've really done is a kind of authentication via a mobile number has, for us, seemed to be the sort of safest way to guarantee that true fans are actually buying tickets. So the way that works is, you have your tickets, you verify via your mobile number, then that assigns that to you. We then sort of keep the tickets within a closed ecosystem, and you have a rotating QR code then that sort of checks in, and really ensures that the ticket is valid. You then can't take any screenshots and you can't take it onto other marketplaces. I think the benefit there is because it's closed off, you actually ensure that the organizers and artists retain their revenue so they can, set, okay, do I only want the tickets to be sold for face value? Do I want it to be sold for a 10% over, 20% over, whilst also keeping within the laws of that country? So some countries only allow for face value resale. They don't allow for, you to make a markup. So yeah, that's really what we've done. I think that the thing is, like, we really like to peel back the layers. So the whole, the global and grand goal is to bring it all on chain, right? So have it truly, secured on chain without needing a closed environment, without needing like a rotating QR code. And I think like the jury is still out there. I mean, we really want to be flexible in the sense of, being able to serve where the market is now today, being able to actually, put on stadium-sized shows, but we're really trying to build the kind of experimental stuff that we can then apply back to our main ticketing. And we're already kind of doing that now with Web3 conferences, because we really see Web3 events as obviously being that sharpening stone. You can kind of be more experimental and that natively issue on chain, natively have it like set on the smart contract level. But yeah, I think the problem really faced with doing it all on chain is still the identification issue. And that's something I don't think we're going to be able to solve, but I am hopeful we'll be able to plug into some kind of identification protocol in the future to find a way to do that. But yeah, it's a good question and something I think we're still, we've kind of solved it on the Web 2.5 side, but I would like it to be solved on the Web 3 side fully in the future.
Great answer. I'm curious if you wouldn't mind telling a story about a successful event that Git Protocol, now Open Protocol, has done in the past, and also one that was maybe not as successful, and like where'd you hit the mark, and where it was like, hey, we didn't expect this as in terms of developing a event and how that interfaces with Web3.
It's a great question, Marcus. Yeah, I mean, I'll immediately start with the failures because I think they're more important, really, in the global vision. I think the epitome for us is actually in 2017. So it was during the CryptoKitty era, if anyone was around for that. At that time, we were actually settling and authenticating tickets natively on chain. So we had this big Dutch comedian, Joop Meyer, his name is, who said, hey, I'm selling out the Carré, which is a really established, it's really prestigious, actually, of a comedy and theater hall. And we decided in our infinite wisdom to, at the door, validate the tickets on Ethereum as people were coming in. So you had this big line of people waiting to get in, and then obviously CryptoKitties happened, and then it was just chaos, basically. It was like an hour or two of people waiting in the line, and we really realized that at that moment in time, we just couldn't rely on having to verify or authenticate a ticket on chain at that moment in time. So big lesson for us, to be honest. And then, we've certainly had, like, from the same artist even, we've had like a lot of moments where, they've been able to get 10,000 people through the door. You see all of the transactions happening on chain, as well as real-time data. We have an event dashboard, and that's been something we've really been able to scale up. And we're really proud of the fact that we can handle literally like 18,000, 20,000 people events on a monthly basis now using this. I think that's been a really promising one for us. I think another one that was really, really cool, not specifically tickets, but like ticket-linked collectibles, was for the Grand Prix for the Formula One last year. And they were really enthusiastic about this technology. We educate them a lot, we make sure that they don't just think this is a cash grab, that they can just, issue NFTs and pay for it. It needs to be something that the core audience can use. So what they really did was, there's this big challenge in the Formula One industry is you need to personalize your tickets. They need to know who's going and kind of where you're sitting. But a lot of people just don't have the incentive to do so. So what they did is they said, hey, if you personalize your ticket, you get this really cool Trackside Treasure collectible. So we actually worked with them natively in the Dutch Grand Prix app. And anyone that went, they saw this kind of blank collectible, And then when the race happened, like literally as the lights were counting down, it evolved into a piece of the track. So they split the track up into 100,000 different coordinates, and every single one got one of those. And then, yeah, you could then use that with Wallet Connect to get, like, you know, access to this year's tickets and whatever it may be. So that was really cool to see, to be honest. Yeah,
That's really cool. And there was no hour-long lines for the tickets.
no, exactly, no.
Learn
Pull in from that.
learn the lesson from that. That's great. I want to ask a builder-centric question. I saw all the docs. I saw different ways that builders here could, you know, start to just explore what Open is doing and just understand you guys better. What would something that you personally would like developers to just take a look at from a subgraph and substreams developer's perspective? Like, we're looking at data all the time. Is there anything in particular from builders here looking at Open that you are curious about, knowing a lot about Open?
Yeah, I mean, I think real-time data is always a fun one. So, like, I don't know if you've been on mint.fun before, but that's a really cool way of seeing real-time, like, mint data happen. And that's something I think builders, like, if anyone has a kind of itch to scratch, like a platform where you see on an event level all of like that data come through with the cool event banners and having sort of fetching that and curating that, I really think is possible using the subgraph and hasn't been done before. So that could be something if people are interested.
What's that website? I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, so it's mint.fun. It's really fun, as the name suggests, to be honest. But yeah, you really see all of this, the most popular mints within an hour or a day, etc. I can pop it in the chat.
.fun. Yeah. I was like, fun. Gotcha.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No, but I think something like event related like this is possible. Other stuff, yeah, like obviously the cool thing here is as more tickets come on chain, you could literally spot trends within the events industry in real time in ways that probably the events industry professionals don't even know themselves. Like, I'm sure you guys, you must have a theory on when something becomes a data standard or when there's enough on open data that you can kind of spot these macro trends. But we're really hopeful that we can almost kind of Trojan horse our way into bringing the ticketing industry to a point where you can actually like spot imperfections or spot trends or notice up and coming artists in different areas that maybe you wouldn't without it, with it being siloed. And a good example of that, by the way, it just came to me, but we've had 2 Web3 events in the past, and what they've done is they've used the on-chain data to incentivize attendees of other conferences to come to theirs. So you went to NFT Paris, they checked via like the smart contracts, okay, you know, do you hold an NFT Paris ticket? If you do, you get like a discount into Met Amsterdam, for example. So you almost see this weird way of you can collaborate together, or if you don't collaborate together, well, the best marketing sort of event wins. You know, you can kind of get that gamification going.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we are really happy that you guys are building on the graph, building many subgraphs on the graph network, and we're really happy we're a decentralized part of your stack. I see a question in chat here. How would the average person take part in this? You have millions of people in the USA who are crypto holders. Is this integrated with a specific wallet, or do you have an app that one has to have to purchase it? Good question, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the cool thing here is, like, during the ticket buying flow, if you have absolutely no idea about Web3 or on-chain or whatever, it's just as seamless as just entering in normal details, right? Email, phone number, etc. And we'll create that wallet for you. That's our own sort of bespoke wallet creation service, which allows anyone to really easily access like their collectibles, their NFT tickets, but also then, you know, use Wallet Connect without needing to sign or rather without needing to know the private key of that wallet. So we kind of do that on behalf of the user. What is cool, though, is if you are familiar with it, you can enter your wallet address in and you actually receive that ticket and collectible on your own wallet. So, yeah, there's the best of both worlds really there. And then from the ticketing perspective, the app isn't purchased. You just sort of, it depends. Like, we have our own guts, or we've kind of white labeled that out to other partners. So they just, you know, you download the app and you have everything there, and that's a free app. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, if there's anything that subgraphs or substreams would be able to do, we're always open, no pun intended, to have more features, anything more that you need. We're always building. So if you are coming into something that you'd like, let us know. We have a lot of builders in the audience here, and we're trying our very best to make the Graph Network really for teams such as yourself. And we're happy to see what you guys are doing. With that being said, I feel like this was a great workshop. This was a great time spent. People got to learn about Colby, you, and Open Protocol, and know some next action steps for getting involved with Open and understanding y'all's data. So, Colby, I'll let you take the last bit here with anything you want to announce, say, anything you want to have. The stage is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, no, I think I'll just really leave it on the DAO that we're building is maturing quite fast. You know, we've got business deals that are actually being put through the DAO now. There's a grant program to facilitate people using the data, such as the Subgraph data. So any ideas that people have to incorporate it into events or even analytical platforms, prediction games, whatever it may be, the DAO, it can be sort of help facilitate that. And perhaps we can even collaborate on something like with that data as a joint a grant or something, a cool initiative together. Who knows? And then I would also say then the best way to actually follow us and reach us, I think, is likely on X. So we're on Open XYZ, which is our handle, as well as on Discord. And yeah, that's the best ways to follow us.
I'm dropping that right in the chat right now.
Oh yeah.
Go. Bam, on open.xy, on XYZ. No dot in there for the Twitter or the X. Well, thank you so much, Colby, for your time, and thank you for coming on the Graph Builders office hours. And for all of you out there, thank you for joining. Remember, June 12th is the upgrade window. Upgrade like Open has upgraded to the Graph Network, and let's get another decentralized layer into our stack that is only going to be more and more decentralized as time goes on. So, all right, everyone, take care.